it's Lauren. Thanks for joining me for today's video, and let me tell you right now, I have quite the story for you. Today I not only look, but I feel like a corpse because I'm running on probably about 2 hours sleep from last night, and I'm gonna tell you why. I had quite the scary, stressful, I had quite a night, to say the least. So I'm gonna run you through how my night went last night. So everyone makes mistakes. We're human, right? We make them, we learn from them. Sometimes you don't, sometimes you do. And this was a mistake that I knew right away that I had messed up pretty badly. So yesterday I went out thrift shopping.
While editing, I was actually like, yes, thrift shopping was my big mistake because currently I have a death pile basically the size of Mount Everest, and I should not have gone shopping, but you know, I passed the store and it was open and my feet just dragged me in. It wasn't really my choice.
And then I came back and I brought some of my bags in the house and my hands were full, so I could only carry a few at once, and I left my car unlocked. So I'm in the house and I'm gonna go back out and grab my other bags. And then I get a phone call from Jesse, my boyfriend. So I get distracted, so we talk on the phone, and then I just totally forget about going back. I just totally forget about going back up to my car. So I just go on with the rest of my day like normal. So for most of the night I think I spent about 4 hours in my studio photographing for Poshmark. While on the subject of Poshmark, I'm a full-time reseller there. If you're not signed up for Poshmark yet, you can use the code THRIFTGoddess. I'll put it up on the screen here and you'll get $15 to spend there. Anyways, back on topic. So I was doing that all night, and then it's probably about like midnight by now. And I'm trying to arrange for my friend Alex to come over tomorrow. So we're FaceTiming, trying to figure out what we're gonna do, because she lives like 2.5 hours away, so she was gonna come sleep over. So now it's about 1 in the morning, and so we're FaceTiming, and I noticed on my phone I get a drop-down notification from CIBC, and it's a payment being made on my Visa card. So I'm like, what? I thought it was like maybe a notification for my phone bill or something, but I click on it, and there were 2 charges for $55.60, I think. And they were both made like instantaneously at a Max Milk in my town. So I'm like, my heart just like drops. So I'm like, so I go and check in my car and my wallet's not there, and I like instantly know, I'm like, okay, someone like went into my car, someone took my wallet, and they're out spending my money. So I'm like, okay, Alex, I gotta go. So I quickly get dressed, I take my keys, I book it to the Max Milk. It's like 4 minutes from here. Also, I apologize if I'm kind of all over the place. I made a coffee today to try and like wake myself up from only having 2 hours of sleep. And I'm not a coffee person. It doesn't agree with me. It makes me all weird. Like, I think that happens to most people, but a lot of people are regular coffee drinkers and I'm not, so I'm just like, woo, all over the place, so bear with me. So I get to the Max Milk and I run in and I go straight up to the cashier, and I'm like, because the place was called the Circle K, so I was like, is this considered a Max Milk? And she's like, yeah. And so I'm like, was there someone in here like a few minutes ago who made a purchase of $55? And the look on her face, like, I just knew. She was like, yeah, like he was just in here, he bought 3 gift cards and he left like a few minutes ago. So I'm like, great. So I'm like, okay, call the police, like someone stole my wallet and they're using my card to buy stuff. So right away she calls the police. I'm on my phone calling CIBC. I'm like, as soon as I get a hold of them, I'm like, okay, I need to cancel my card right away. See, look, I'm like, I'm talking so fast. Calm down, Lauren. So I'm like, I need to cancel my card right away. Someone stole my wallet and is using it to make purchases, so he canceled it. And then he was transferring me over to the credit card company. And then they're like, the approximate wait time is 38 minutes. And I'm like, okay, no. Like, I need to do this like right away. Like, because in that time, this guy could go and like take thousands of dollars out of my bank account. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like, so I had to set my phone down. I had to talk to the police officer for a second on the phone. Like, they just needed my information. I need a breath. So much talking. So I am on hold and I'm on my phone trying to figure out, because I Google it and it says you can lock your credit card from my app. So my debit card's canceled and I'm not worried about that now. It's just like my credit card, because that's where he made the payments from. But like he had my wallet, he had both cards. So eventually I figured out how to do it on the mobile app. So like my cards are canceled, so that's like a weight off my shoulders. I'm like, hey, he's not gonna get any more of my money. So now I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna wait till the officer comes and we'll deal with it from there. So the cashier told me that this guy, he is like a problem around town. He's well known with the police for getting in trouble and like stealing stuff. He's like a little klepto, they called him. And they had him on camera in the convenience store. So I was like, okay, that's great. Like there's proof. They have the receipts of the things that he bought with my card number. So the police officer gets there. He goes and watches the footage. I'm just like waiting in here. I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I texted Jesse. Jesse's actually away. Of course it happens at night that Jesse's not home. And I'm feeling that's why, because normally at night we have Jesse's big work van parked in the driveway. And then we have my car, so I think people wouldn't dare to like go and if they saw someone was home. But like I had all my lights on, so yeah, this guy just like came in, went in my car, took the wallet, and then dipped. So police officer watches the footage. Okay, he gets a statement from the cashier, gets a statement from me, and then he tells me to wait inside the store, and he goes and checks the perimeter of the convenience store, seeing if my wallet was ditched anywhere, because I made a list of everything I had in my wallet. Like I only had 20 bucks cash, so like that was like whatever, and a bunch of change. But I made another mistake of keeping my social insurance number card in my wallet and my health card. And my driver's license, conveniently enough, was actually in the car. I took it out for, when I was buying a bike, I had to take it out to like see like my height, if the bike was the right height for me. Oh, excuse me. It's the coffee, man. It's killing me. So, officer goes and looks around, doesn't find the wallet. He's like, he could have ditched it anywhere, and they're like he lives down this road, so we're gonna go there, we're gonna check. And then the officer told me, he was like, best thing for you to do right now is just to go home and try calling the card companies for my social insurance number and my health card to get those canceled, because he was worried about this guy maybe trying to steal my identity because he had all that information. So I'm just like, okay, great. So I drive back to my house and I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to go to bed at this point. So I leave my car there. So I try to like put my criminal mind on. I'm like, hey, like I just stole this wallet. Like, what am I going to do next? So I'm thinking that this guy like picked my cards out, took my cash, and then he threw the wallet somewhere, like disposed of it because it's evidence. And conveniently enough, it was large article pickup right now. So I'm like, if I was this guy, I would have thrown it in with someone's trash so that it would have been like thrown out the next day and no sign of it. So I start walking the trail from my house back to the convenience store.
So I just took this screenshot from Google Maps to show you how close the convenience store was to my house. Like this guy wasn't very bright because he picked like the closest store to my house, and it was like a 4-minute drive for me.
And I'm looking at everyone's trash bins. I'm like hoping no one's like looking out the windows, like who's this sketchy person at like 2 in the morning walking around looking at my trash. But no one noticed me, so it's fine. So I check in all the places on either side of the road, going to the convenience store, and there's nothing. So I'm like, crap. I checked in the dumpsters at the convenience store and nothing. So I'm like, ugh, what do I do? So as I'm like walking to the convenience store, I see the police officer just like, there were 2 cruisers at this point. So the one I see just take down the road in the direction that they said where his house was. So I'm like, okay, so if this guy is like at the store and then he like goes straight to his house, I'm gonna walk down the road that goes in the direction of his house and see if there's anywhere that he could have ditched it there. So I'm like looking, there was like a dumpster on the way. I looked there, I looked in everyone's trash piles again. So as I'm walking down the road, I see a car coming back towards me, and I figured it was the police cruiser, so I just like turned around and like kind of kept looking on my way back. And wait for it. Oh man. Yeah, remind me to never drink coffee again. This is gross. Coffee does not agree with me. So then the police officer comes and he notices it was me. So he rolls down his window and he's like, you find anything yet? Because like he knew I was out looking for the wallet, and I said no sign of anything. So then he tells me that they actually had sight of this guy because like they're familiar with him, they know who he is, they know what he looks like. Little felon. It's disgusting. So they said that they saw him and he took off on a bike, and they're like, okay, this guy's wearing a gray hoodie, he has long hair, and he's on a bicycle. So I'm like, okay, I have a description, so if I happen to see him, I can call the officers. So I was like, do you have a number I can reach you at? So he gave me his work number. So I'm like, okay. So now I'm thinking like, okay, I know what he looks like. I know he's riding around on a bike. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go get my car and then I'm just gonna drive around and see if I see anything. So, go back, get my car, and I'm just driving around the neighborhood, and then I see all the police cars. They're at his house. There's like 3 cruisers parked in front of his house. So I'm like, hey, they're like, I guess they like talked to his family. They didn't know where he was. Whatever. Oh, I'm out of breath. See, coffee just gets me like, woo. So, and then I passed them, and then the same police officer I was dealing with saw me, and I'm like, yeah, just me again, just driving around, you know. So I'm thinking like, if I was a criminal on the loose and I knew there was police cars at my house, or the police knew where I lived, I wouldn't go back to my house. So I'm like, okay, like I already driven around the neighborhood, like looking carefully for where he could be, and nothing. So I go to the main road and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just drive down here, past my house on the main road, just to see if he's like hiding out somewhere, or like biking down another street. So his house is back here. The main road's here. I'm heading this way out of town. And it's like probably like 2:30 at this point. No one else on the roads. It's deserted. So I'm just driving, I'm like looking around, and then I see it. I'm driving this way and I see a person on a bicycle on the road riding towards me. So like my heart starts racing. I'm like, is this him? Like, is this the guy who stole my stuff? So my heart's even racing. Like I think I told 3 people this story today on the phone, and like every time I got to this part, like my heart started racing. I'm just like, adrenaline. So I'm trying not to be like obvious, like I'm looking for him. Sorry, I have like no focus today. So I'm driving this way. I just like drive normal speed. I try to like not look at him, and I have my windows down and my AC off because I'm like, what I would do is when I came to an intersection, I would stop and like see if I heard like anyone in the bushes or someone riding a bike around. So I'm here, he's here, we're going like this. And I pass him and like I like look with my eyes, I don't turn my head. He looks over at me, I can see him in my peripherals. And then he says, holy f***. And then he just takes off down the road. So I'm like, yeah, that was him. It's like long hair, gray shirt. So I peel around in this parking lot, and like I have the officer's phone number right there on my phone, so I call him and it's ringing, it rings a while. So this guy, he was on the road, and then he like cuts over and he's on the sidewalk, and he's just booking it away from me. Like he knows, like I thought he must have recognized the car or something, and like knew there was one he broke into, and so he's just going. So I'm like, I start following him on the road, and like I wasn't even paying attention, but I was on the other side of the road because like there was no one, the roads were deserted. So I'm waiting for the officer to pick up. I'm like, come on, like I'm following him, I'm right there, I got him. So I'm like, so he picks up and I'm like, I found him, he's on James Street, he's like driving towards downtown, I'm following him. And then the officer's like, oh no, we just arrested him. And I'm like, what? Like, I was so confused. This part was so confusing because why would this guy have been like, holy, and then booked it away from me? So I thought that it was like one of his buddies. I was going around with him breaking into cars because that's what these teenage degenerates do at night apparently. And then I hear the officer over the phone ask the guy they arrested, they're like, were you out with any friends tonight? And the guy's like, no man, just me. So I'm like, makes absolutely no sense why this guy would see me and then say what he said and then just like run away from me. So I don't know if this guy was trying to cover up for his friend or something, probably, but anyways. So like I didn't see where the guy on the bike went, like he just left. So then the officers tell me, they're like, yeah, we got him, like you can come back to the street we're on, like you saw where we were. So I'm like, okay. So I drive over there, and when I get there, they have all my cards spread out on the dashboard. Like, here, let me see. So they have all these cards. These are, oops, all my gift cards and whatnot that were in the wallet. So these were the ones that he decided to take, I guess. And as well as the 3 $50 gift cards that he had purchased at the convenience store. So they got me to identify what was mine, and I showed them, and they're like, did you have any cash on you? And I was like, yeah, I had like 20 bucks. So he had a $20 bill, gave it to me, and this guy's pocket was full of change. So then I'm asking them, I'm like, so like, how did you find him? And they're like, oh yeah, me and my partner, we were just walking around with flashlights looking, and then there's this shed, and my partner was like, oh, that looks like someone's been in it recently. So they start walking over to the shed, and the guy was dumb enough to poke his head out and look. And so they obviously caught him like that. And I guess in the shed there was like, they said there was like 50 marijuana plants. So and they were like, that's more than 4. Which is funny. So got my stuff back. But the only thing was my, where is it? So my debit card was missing. He had my credit card but not my debit card, which I found kind of weird because my, did I put it back in my wallet? I think I did, yeah. Because the credit card was the one he used, so I don't know why he didn't just take my debit card, but my debit card was the one I canceled first, so maybe he tried to use it somewhere and it just didn't work, so he just like tossed it somewhere. So I'm like standing there and I kind of catch a glimpse of this guy, and he's like some 15-year-old kid. I'm like, really, dude? So yeah, and so the officers, they gave me the 3 $50 cards. They're like, here, these are yours, you bought them. I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, do you think you could find out like where he ditched the wallet? And then they go and ask him, he's like, oh, I don't know, like, but like he was like swearing. I'm like, well, it's your fault. You just got arrested for stealing. So like, don't be upset. He's probably upset he got caught, but he was dumb. So he's like, oh, by the train tracks over there. So I go and follow the one police officer there because this was actually right by my house. So what the guy did was, so my house is over here, the train tracks are over here, they're actually like behind me, like out this window. Like there's one house and there's the train tracks and it's like a bridge. So what this guy did is he went in my car, he probably like went down the whole strip, like, cause this guy he had someone else's cell phone, he had someone else's credit card, he had Sport Check gift cards, he had a whole bunch of money. So there's a street lamp over by the train tracks. So what this guy did is he went over there under the street lamp, literally took my wallet, dumped it out, like rummaged through everything, picked out the things he wanted, and then just left my wallet there. So when I got over to the train tracks after following the police officer over there were already some that were over there, and when we got there they were coming around and they had my wallet and a big handful of all my receipts and my coupons and stuff. So this is how it looked when I got it back. Literally, like, you can tell that he just like dumped it out in the grass because like there's like grass in it still. So I checked and like all my important cards were there, my social insurance, health card, my receipts and whatnot. Like, look at this mess. It did not look like that before. So yeah, so at this point it's like 3:30 in the morning. So I'm like, I got all my stuff back and I got my wallet back. I was happy. And yeah, it was just like, it was a blessing how this all happened. I was like, it's such a miracle that I was able to get everything back that I lost. And an extra $150 because the credit card company is going to reimburse me the $100 that was fraudulently spent. So I trusted my gut on this because like when I first got back to my house and I was like, I'm not going to be able to sleep. Like, I should go out and like look and do something. Because if I came home and just gone to bed, like they may or may not have contacted me. They may or may not have actually gone out and looked for my wallet, but I made it known that that was important to me to get all that stuff back. Because if it had been left to the morning, my wallet was left like out in broad daylight, like right by the road, so anyone could have came and just picked it up, and I don't think my address is updated on it yet, so they wouldn't have known like who it belonged to. So yeah, that was, I just like, the amount of adrenaline that was just rushing through me when I thought I had found the thief and I was chasing him in my car on his bike, that was just like, I can't even explain that. Like, my heart was just racing. I was like, I gotta chase this guy, and like, I'm like, ugh. Oh yeah, so when I was in the convenience store too, I texted Jesse, and I was like, I messed up. And then he texted back, he was like, what? I was just sleeping, but I woke up. And then I was like, it's okay, just like go to bed and I'll tell you in the morning. Because I didn't want to worry him. So then he calls me at like 6 in the morning, so I'm just like, hello. Like completely out of it. Like, I just like lost my whole day because of like how tired I am. Like you could tell by my voice and how I look, obviously. So then, yeah, he was the first person I called and told about it. And he was like, wow, like, I'm glad you handled that so well, because I knew in this situation that, like, getting upset and, like, breaking down about it was not going to help. So, like, I maintained my calm. I'm a fairly calm person when it comes to, like, situations like this. So, like, yeah, just, like, speaking to the officer, speaking to the cashier, like, I was just, like, super calm. I'm like, it's going to be okay. And thankfully, in the end, it was. Did I get all the information from this? Yeah, I just wanted to film this so I have like a complete recollection of the events that happened that night. Because I'm like, what? So the next morning I decided to go and take a walk out by the train tracks where my wallet was dumped, just to do a double check to see if the officers missed picking up any of my cards or papers that were in my wallet. Because like, I know there's like a lot of trash around here. Like people are horrendous for littering. So I didn't want them to just assume something that I had was just trash and not pick it up. So like I'm on the phone with Jesse, just like telling him the story, and so I'm like walking by, and my neighbor who's right beside me, I look over in their garbage pile and I see my little coin purse. So this was, you know, in the car, in between the driver's seat and the passenger seat, there's that little like, I don't know what to call it, like a little pocket, and you lift it up and there's sometimes cup holders in it. So I had this in there, and there's like a couple bucks in it probably. So the guy took that and just like dumped my little change purse. But what I also didn't understand was there was a Shoppers Drug Mart gift card in there for like 25 bucks, and he didn't grab that. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So yeah, I got this back too. So I just had to pretty much stayed in bed all day, did my computer work for Poshmark and whatnot. My cat hung out with me in bed all day, so I think you can tell that I was like not myself, just a little bit stressed out, you know. But so yeah, that's my story of how I got my wallet stolen and beat the odds of getting it back and getting back everything that I had in it. So yeah, that's the end of my story. That's how my night went last night. So I ended up getting 2 hours of sleep, maybe even less. But yeah, it all turned out good in the end. I obviously learned my lesson to always double, even triple check that my car is locked at night, because there's some sketchy people here who have nothing better to do with their lives than to steal from other people. So yeah. Thanks for joining me for story time, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.